This is lesson 2, part 2, because we lost power during the middle of the second, or this lesson. Okay, so to go through what we were doing, we have our biome is rainforest. We have our fact about destruction or endangerment within the biome. We have how humans are involved and the action needed to protect the biome. Okay, so let's write down another fact about destruction or endangerment within the biome. The one we already did is today only about 3% of the original temperate rainforest exists in the USA. What's another fact about the destruction? What's happened?
Because of habitat destruction, many plants and animals have become island dwellers inside the park.
Okay. How about on a more general scale? So this is in the US. What about in the whole world?
Tropical rainforests comprise only 40% of the world's tropical forests and only 20% of the world's total forests.
Okay, so what's a fact about destruction?
Acres of trees are cut in the tropical rainforest every minute.
Okay, I'd say that's a good fact. Go ahead and sounds good to me. That's a good fact. Okay. So how are humans involved in that?
We're the ones cutting it down.
Humans are cutting down the trees. Okay. So humans are cutting down the trees. Okay, so we need another action to protect the biome. So we might go over here. Because it says...
What can you do to help the tropical
Yep.
rainforest?
It might be more than just not cutting down trees, which is one solution that would help, obviously. Okay, so what else can you do? You should probably pick... They've given you a list. Do you see the... this is a bulleted list.
Mm-hmm.
So each one of these bullets is something that you could do. So going back to our text, what you can pick one of those. What could you personally do?
Learn more about tropical rainforests and the plants and animals, including people which live there. Investigate the complex issues surrounding deforestation and people and possible solutions through further reading.
Okay, so you don't have to write that down word for word, but you could write that down in this section where it says action needed to protect.
Investigate things about like the living beings that aren't in there.
Because write down what, and you're going to use it when you're writing your... Okay, so you're going to use this organizer and the information that you wrote down in this organizer. What is up with your notebook? Okay, can you, if I'm somebody who doesn't know about all these things that you just read about, can you write me one paragraph should be about this section and one paragraph can be about that section? Could you go ahead and write me 2 paragraphs about that situation? Now, is that all over the planet or just in the US?
It says USA at the end.
Ah, okay. You could start off saying something like, rainforests in the US and all over the world are endangered. Okay. Just go ahead. Go ahead and keep using your biome to do this. I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. Is that all one sentence? So you could, yeah, you could. Yep. Make sure you have more than one sentence in your paragraph.
Is that right? When I say DEO.
What word are you writing?
Doesn't.
Doesn't what?
Doesn't help.
I wouldn't say it doesn't help. I would say was the beginning of the destruction or something like that. Because that's how the destruction started, right? This is weird too, because like if you were in a group with other kids, you guys might be. Okay, and then you can have a sentence about. Now this is kind of a little clip, a fact, but how do you make that into a sentence? One way, say like one way that we could protect rainforests is to not so you have to kind of turn these little facts that you wrote down into sentences that make sense, right? And that's kind of the purpose of this organizer, is because you could make like 3 nice sentences about the situation. Okay, period. All right, so then your second paragraph can be, you know, worldwide rainforest, because this was about rainforests in the USA. So you can say, you know, rainforest worldwide, 30 acres. Does that make sense? That might be a good way to start. I'm trying not to micromanage what you're doing, because I would be all over the place if I had a whole class. That's crazy. Every minute. 30 acres of trees are cut down every minute.
I'm basically holding part of one of those cut down trees in my hand.
Yeah. I don't know, pencils are the biggest problem. Okay, so then going on from there, we're synthesizing this information into our own writing, how humans are involved. So you could have a second sentence about how humans are involved. Since we know robots or aliens are not cutting down these trees, right? The fish aren't doing it. Okay, and then you should have a sentence, and then your last sentence in your paragraph could be about what you wrote down there. Would you say, how would you start a sentence like that?
Another thing we could do to help is to...
Perfect. That's a good sentence starter. Another thing that we can do to help. Stop the destruction of rainforests. Okay. So if you, for your assessment, if you want to read that, if you want to read your paragraphs to me, to tell me what you learned from this website, that would be.
In the rainforest today, only about 3% of the original temperate rainforest in the USA. In the rainforest today, only about 3% of the original temperate rainforest in the USA
Exists. Maybe that sentence, you could change it to still exist or still remain. Sometimes, yeah, rereading through our, you could just put it like up here, like still remain. How would you rearrange that sentence so that it makes more sense to the reader? Just, you don't have to rewrite it, but tell me how you could, now that you're reading it as the reader.
In today's rainforest, only about 3% of the temperate rainforests that used to be are still in the USA.
Or you could say, in the USA, only about 3%. Would that make more sense?
Mm-hmm.
Of the, 3% of the original temperate rainforest still exist.
The arrival of homesteaders just a century ago was the beginning of the destruction. One way we could help is to not cut down as many trees. In rainforests across the world, about 30 acres of trees are cut down every single minute. And the way humans are involved is that we are doing all the work and cutting down all of those trees. And one more thing that we could do to help stop the destruction of our rainforests is to investigate the living beings in these rainforests.
Learn more about them?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So you ended up finding stuff in this website, and you were able to turn it into your own 2 paragraphs to inform me about what you learned.
Pretty long
It's
paragraphs,
pretty
too.
cool. Yeah. And reading through your own writing, that usually, if you put yourself in the place of the reader, then something that might have made sense to you when you were writing it in the first place, you could be like, oh, as the reader, I think I would do that sentence differently so that it made more sense. And you could maybe think about this paragraph has to do with rainforests in the US, and this has to do with rainforests worldwide. So it impacts us like nearer to our home, and then this is the whole world. So it's kind of a...
The entire big world.
Yes. So I think that, do you think that this organizer helped you write that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it was a good way to organize the facts so that you could write a really good 2 paragraphs about the situation in the biomes.
Yeah. 30 acres is...
Yeah. It would be cool. I'm not going to make you do this right now, but it would be cool if we were working with other groups to see what they had to say about, like, the oceans and the coral reefs being endangered and things like that. Then if your other groups were working with you, they could let you know what they learned about coral reefs and their oceans being endangered and things like that too, right?
Yeah, like 30 acres. I'm into this new word just for how big that is. Humongous.
It's like a football field.
Yeah.
It is humongous. And we're doing that every minute.